right, we are live. Let's give it a few minutes for some people to show up. We are going to be discussing our Disney Lovers Readathon and the rules that the rules and how to participate and everything like that. So we'll give it a few minutes. If you are joining us, say hi in the chat so we know we're here, or we know you're here. If you have any questions, let me do this. Create banner. You have any questions? Drop them in live chat for us. Scroll across the bottom. There we go. So we have that. We have comments. We can give it a few minutes, let people join. Yep. And then we can go ahead and get started. My phone keeps going off. Okay. So, how was your weekend other than stuff? Well, I saw you this weekend.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Just very exciting.
Yeah. It was it was all right otherwise.
Yeah.
A long weekend. The 3-hour drive home was a lot.
Yeah, we didn't get home till really late last night because we went straight to my husband's parents' house.
Yeah.
For something. And then Willow got dropped off today because I'm like, we're not, no. So my mom dropped her off. So if you are joining us in the chat, say hi. Let us know how you're doing. We're just waiting for some people to join. Like the banner says, if you have any questions while we go, like if something pops up, drop it in the chat and then we'll go back and like answer the questions. I think that would be kind of the easiest way to do this, is just go through everything and then go back and answer questions, because your question might be answered as we keep going. We have a list that I should definitely pull up. Hold on.
Yeah, I have ours pulled. I have it pulled up.
Okay, I'm going to do that too. We talk a lot on Discord. That makes it harder.
I was going to say, you want me to...
Found it. I think that's it. Okay. Is that it? Found it. We're good. All right. Hi, Katie. It's good to see you. Katie is awesome. She's been here since the beginning, I think.
I think so.
All right. So let's get started. You just want to start with like a basic, what is our readathon?
Sure.
All right. Who wants to do that?
Why don't you do it? And then I can go over rules and stuff too.
All right. Yep. Katie's been here since the beginning and we love her for it. So the Disney Lovers Readathon is a Disney themed readathon, and it goes for the full year. And so it starts in January and goes through December. And each month we release a series of prompts. The past 2 years, this year and last year, they've been themed to characters. Our theme for next year is rides from Disney World. So it will be rides themed to the rides. And you have, once the prompts are released, you have the rest of the year to complete them. And we do monthly challenges and assorted activities throughout the year as well. There's a Discord and an Instagram, which is all linked down below in the description. If you want to join us, all are welcome.
Yeah, I think that, that pretty much sums up, what we're about. There are some rules that go along with that readathon. So, for example, as we said, that our theme is Disney park attractions, rides, whatever, for 2024. Stacks for next month to begin teasing the release of what the January attractions are going to be. Those stacks are actually going to be put up on, Friday, the 15th. So we usually honor around the 15th of the month before. We post our stacks, and then
there's stacks of books.
Yeah, so stacks of books. So it would be like, say, I'm just going to grab 3 random books off my shelf right now. So you'll see a picture of books just kind of stacked together, and they will be describing the attraction. So essentially we have a set of prompts that we know, and we're going to pull books that match those prompts. And based on the books that you see, you're not going to know the prompts, but you'll have a chance to guess what the attraction is. And then, so there's that contest. And if someone or multiple someones guesses the prompt correctly, there will be a drawing for the person to be able to start the prompts on that attraction, just that attraction, not all of them, but that attraction that you guessed correctly a week early. So that could be huge for somebody to be able to start, say, a January attraction still like the first week of December, or the last week of December, I mean. And then, so we post the stocks on the 15th. Then we turn around and we actually release the characters like for this year, or the attractions for next year on or around the 20th of that next month, or of that month. So for January, December 15th, we'll release the stocks. December 20th, around there, we'll release the attractions. January 15th, January 20th will be February's, etc.
And the purpose of that is that so you can start like planning your TBR. And I know some people do that early. Some people do multiple readathons. So that helps with the planning process for people.
Yeah, because you'll know the prompts about 8 to 10 days ahead of time, or well, I guess it's technically 8 to 11 days ahead of time, depending on the month, so that you have that almost week and a half to 2 weeks to actually do your planning for your TBR. Guesses can be entered for the stacks on both Discord and Instagram. So if you have two ideas that you think that stack might fit, you can split them across. Or you can guess the same thing on both and potentially have a chance to win the drawing on Instagram, and then you don't have to worry about potentially having it on Discord. So next year, something that's new is we're going to actually have two versions of our challenge. We're going to have our light challenge and we're going to have our regular. So this year is what we consider our regular version, where we have 10 prompts per thing, person, attraction, whatever released, that you have to complete. You can share books across those 10 prompts. Like, you don't have to do a book per prompt. You could easily, on some of them, one-shot a attraction or character with a book. I actually did that earlier this year for the Queen of Hearts. I used Marissa Meyer's Heartless, and it obviously it was Alice in Wonderland telling, so it actually managed to hit all of Queen of Hearts. But you can share them across that way. You cannot share them between characters unless you actually have a reward. And we do those rewards a couple times a year. We do actually give out some combination rewards where you can either combine the two characters and share books across all 20 prompts, or it'll be like a combine 2 characters and eliminate 5 prompts, so you only have to complete 15 of them, etc. Then what's new for next year is going to have our light version where you only have to complete 5 of the prompts. And so we will have a separate graphic for that, so that you don't have to worry about trying to remember which of the 10 are the light prompts or anything like that. We have that laid out for you already. The one downside to light is you won't be able to get as many rewards. So we have a ton of optional events that are going to happen throughout the year. Some
went
of
a little
them
crazy next year.
Christina did go just a touch crazy. Some of them we have like a bingo planned. We have
I don't even remember. Some of them are just, there's no like way to
there's no like actual like there's no real way to describe some of them. There's some really cool events that we're going to be doing. If you were around in 2022, you might remember that we had like a roll and read. I think we're planning something similar to that for like a challenge where you roll and then you read a book that kind of meets that prompt, and you can use it across the attractions or whatever. I think something that we also forgot to, well, we did announce it, but we didn't like really talk about it, was that we're going to have the pavilion monthly challenge and the resorts. And so the light will be able to complete the pavilion monthly challenges and use the rewards, but you won't be able to get the reward for the resorts. Now, if you want to do that completion's sake, you do you, boo. You do those resort ones. Like, that's totally cool. We, you know, obviously you are welcome to do any of the optional things. It wouldn't count towards your light rewards. And the thing is, we're going to be putting out a survey for light versus regular. And, you know, we just ask participants to pick whether they're doing light or regular before they start the challenge, because we're asking you not to switch between them. Like, once you know, commit to the challenge, like, try and stick with that one. Because we don't want you to get confused with like what the rewards are for light versus regular, or, you know, miss out on getting some of the regular rewards if you decide to go to it, you know, afterwards, because you won't be able to go back and earn them again.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. I feel like there's something else for light. I don't think that was it. That might have been it. So
yeah.
Tori has a good question. Absolutely not. Library books are fine. Books from friends are fine. Whatever works for you is totally fine.
Ebooks, audio, does like whatever. Christina can tell you, I am a huge Kindle Unlimited user. I read something like 57 books in October. It was ridiculous.
She's insane.
More than half of them were on Kindle Unlimited. So I don't own them. I borrowed them from Kindle. Like, it's 100% okay. Like, there's no limit to how you get those books. Like, Christina makes a big use of the free little libraries in her neighborhood, or little free library. I forget exactly what it is. Yeah. So, you know, Christina makes a ton of use of those. So I make use of the library down the street from me. It's all obviously welcomed. There are certain events where we ask that if you have it on Kindle or audio, like, that's kind of where we're saying, like, you should be limited to that. Like, you don't necessarily have to be able to pull the book off your shelf and say, here's my entry for that event. But we would like a screenshot of your Kindle library with the book in it, or your audio library, whatever.
Do you want to then jump into daily challenges then?
Yeah. You want to jump into that?
Board? Yeah. So we do, this was new this year. We did daily challenges. You have a little one with you, Carrie.
I do. She's behind me.
I didn't even know she was there. Yeah. So we do in odd numbered months. So January, March, May, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We do daily challenges. They're not actually every day. They're every 3 days. So it starts on the 3rd. So it'll be the 3rd, the 6th, the 9th. It's divisible by 3 all the way through the end of the month. And there will be a prompt activity release. And it's super simple. It requires like no reading. There's 3 types. So we rotate through. We have this or that, where it says, do you prefer this or that? And then you just circle it and post it. We have literary questions, so it's kind of like an open-ended question, and then scavenger hunts. And that's what Carrie was talking about, the scavenger hunts. It should be a book that you own, in the sense that it's on your Kindle, it's on your Audible thing, it's on your shelf, whatever. It's not a book that you're screenshotting the picture from, like downloading it from Google and putting it on there or something like that. It needs to be a book that is somehow in your possession. And you just have to find the book. So it'll be a book that's, you know, a mostly yellow cover. Okay, cool. You go find a book with a mostly yellow cover. You take a picture of it. You throw it on the template. We do 10 of them a month, and you have to participate in at least 5 of them. You do need to do the template that we provide. It's a very simple template. You can't just be like, here's my picture of my book, or here's my answer to the question. and you do at least 5 of them, and you get the reward. And the reward for that month for doing the 5 daily challenges is you get to eliminate a prompt released that month. So if you do it in January, then you get to eliminate a prompt. Sorry, my dog is at my feet eating the apple I gave her earlier. I keep looking down at her. So you get to eliminate a prompt that you released in January. Then an even number month, so this is what we're doing right now, is we do buddy reads. And the rules for buddy reads are pretty simple. It has to be a buddy read with someone else in the readathon. And you have to read it in the month of January, or in that month, whatever month it is. Yeah. You can participate in multiple buddy reads, but you only get the reward once. And that's important because I think, Carrie, was it in October? You and I did like 4?
We did 4. I think I did a total of 6, and like 4 of them were with you. Yeah.
Yeah. But Carrie obviously didn't get the reward 6 times. She only got it once. But then that helps other people. So so she could help someone else get the reward for them by participating in the buddy read with them. A lot of people do Storygraph for the buddy reads just because the formatting is nice. I'm personally a big fan of Storygraph. That's not a requirement. That's absolutely not a requirement. One year we had a bunch of people. This was last year before we did buddy reads. Like 8 or 9 or 10 people all read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the month that we released Lucy and Susan Pevensey. And so we just created a channel for it because there was such an overwhelming amount of people. So if
and we can absolutely do that again this coming year. If we end up having somebody who's going to have more than 8 people, because Storygraph only lets you have 8 people. If you know that you're going to have more than 8 people for your buddy read, we will absolutely create a channel for that. We have no problems doing that on Discord. We just have to, just tag an admin and say, hey, we've got all these people. And then people can just jump right into that channel. We won't even make it private or anything like that. Like anybody can participate.
Yeah, just let us know. That is super easy for us to do. So I think that's it for monthly challenges and buddy reads. And the buddy reads are super simple. I normally go, here's my TBR. And someone goes, oh, I was going to read that too. Cool. Done. That's all it takes. It's nothing really fancy.
Yeah. And then we do have templates that you can just post that up. And for the buddy read, the thing is too, you get your reward even if your buddy doesn't end up completing the book. Like you signed up for it, you went into it believing it's a buddy read. Even if your partner doesn't end up reading the book, you still get credit for it. Like we're not going to penalize you because your partner didn't do the work, right? Like that's okay. I know I want to say that, Christina and I actually had like 5 or 6 buddy reads, and there were just some of them that I didn't end up finishing.
There was one that I didn't get to.
Yeah, there was one you didn't get to. There was one I didn't get to. So it was just, obviously we're not gonna penalize somebody just because we get to that book.
So and next guesses. I'm looking at our list. Need to pick.
So one big thing is like clarification of certain prompts. So you're obviously always welcome to ask in the questions channel or even on the attractions channel if you have a question about a prompt. One big thing though is when the prompt says something about the cover, so like say there's like a mostly black cover is the prompt, it means the edition you're reading, not other editions. So say, hold on, I have multiple editions of some books here.
Oh, perfect.
Right. So say I'm reading Fall of Wrath of Rune and Wrath, right? I would have to be reading this one. It was about a mostly red cover. I couldn't be reading through my Owl Crate edition. I would have to be reading, my Barnes and Noble edition for it to count, right? I can't just say, oh, I read this one, but I know that this one exists, so this is the one I'm counting towards it.
I was gonna say something. And if it's like on your Kindle or Libby or something, it's whatever cover shows up on the app.
Yes.
And then another one, I don't remember. We've had this in the past. So I'm just going to say it. If it says it's a translated work, that means that it was translated into the language that you're reading it. Not, oh, I'm going to read Twilight and it's been translated into 50 different languages. I'm sure it's actually more than that. This was a book like was it Confessions? That was really popular last year or
Yeah, the one
something.
that it was in French. It was written originally in French and translated to English.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, there was one that I read this year, last year. I don't remember. That was like that. It was originally a French written book that was then translated to English.
And it's important to note that with Readathon, like, yes, it's fun. Yes, it's not supposed to be extra work, but it is also supposed to push you a little bit outside your comfort zone. I'm sorry. My phone is going off
Yeah,
more now.
we kind of like we worked a lot of these prompts to kind of diversify our reading as well, right? It's a big thing for Christina and I. We're constantly talking to each other about different ways that we can expand our reading. So really, before I started doing one of these readathons, I was pretty much a fantasy or murder thriller kind of reader. Like I didn't really branch into anything else. Now I've branched into reading romance. I've branched into reading more sci-fi than I did before. Historical fiction. I was never really a big historical fiction reader. And the whole point is just been to kind of broaden our horizons and see what else is out there.
Trying to see what other things do we have. This is a big one. So if you read a book in, say, February, and it doesn't count for any prompts, like you can't make it work for any prompts for any of the attractions. It happens. It sucks. It happens. And then a prompt comes out in March that book would have fit. You can't use it. You cannot use it for those prompts in March.
Unless you read it again in March.
Yes. Unless you read it
like
again in March.
Yeah, so there was earlier this year, I was doing a reread of the Blood and Ash series in preparation for the 5th book that was coming out. And it didn't fit it. None of the books fit most of the prompts. Like I had already covered them or whatever. But then some prompts came out in June or July, something like that I wanted to use them for again. I went back and I reread those books again, or a book of it again, so that I could count it. Yes, it means that I read the book twice this year, but sometimes if it's a book you enjoy, it works.
Yeah. There are some rewards that say use a book read earlier this year for XYZ, and then that will count. Then you can do it.
Yes.
Then. But it's only rewards. And you guys will see what we mean by rewards. If you're new, for the monthly challenges, it'll be like read a book with snow on the cover and then do X, Y, and Z to help you eliminate prompts, merge characters. Just it gives you a little bit of a leg up. And the monthly challenges are optional. Did we mention that monthly challenge books cannot be used for rides, for attractions?
We have not. That is
a
big one now.
So we have 2 monthly challenges next year. They are themed to resorts at Disney World and the pavilions, the Epcot pavilions for the countries. And so those are going to be 2 a month. And if you read a book for that, like I don't know what I read. I read a lot of books that fit the monthly challenge, the absentee parent prompt challenge this month. I was shocked. I was like, what? So say I chose Percy Jackson, because I am reading Percy Jackson right now, and technically it's an absent parent. And so if I used Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief for the monthly challenge for this month, I could not then use it and be like, oh, but actually it fits for this prompt and this prompt for a character. I can't do that. It's either one or the other. So you kind of have to maximize it.
However, we do occasionally do rewards for the monthly challenges where we let you use like the other monthly challenges book or a book from another time or even a book from a friend or something like that. So we do have a lot of ways that you can do it. So like an example of the rewards is this month's monthly challenge for Molt. If you read a book featuring brothers, you can who work together, you can then team up with somebody in the readathon to actually complete a villain. and that lets you use any of the books that they read for that villain on your villain as well, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. And you would just have to coordinate with them, but it would have to be someone in the readathon.
Yes.
Let's see what other questions we did. Daily challenges. Did we go through books can't be shared across attractions? Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the book for as many prompts for the attraction. We did that.
Yep. Most of the rewards can also be saved. Like, unless they specifically say that they have to be used in that month, you can save them throughout the year. So like, I think I just recently in like November, I think, used the Pride Week challenge to do some combinations, or like we had a monthly challenge that was the 3 hyenas from Lion King, and that was in like April. I just recently used that for an October prompt, a November prompt, and a December prompt, because that's how it fit. Like, right, that was, you can definitely save them and maximize your rewards that way.
We have a bunch of people right now in Discord like going through and being like, oh my God, I didn't use half of these, and just knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And that's honestly the way to go. Sorry, Willow's making noise. I used them as I went the first year, and I kind of saved them and used them in like little spurts this year. And I think I liked that better. Because you never know, there might be a book. So I could read a book now that fits a prompt released in June that I never used. And I can do that. So if I read a book now, I can use it for past prompts, but I can't use a past book for current prompts. And I'm going to step away for a second because Willow just has to go outside.
No problem.
I will be right back.
Mm-hmm. I can't see chat, so because I'm on my own StreamYard. Let me look at our live chat and see. Yeah, it looks like we're going well. Happy birthday, Katie, by the way. I just saw that you said your birthday is on the 14th. So, you know, that's Thursday. That's awesome. Happy birthday. I was going to say my child's deciding to walk right in front of my computer. Oh, no, she wants to sit on my lap. Okay. Yeah, I mean, do we have really any other questions in about kind of what's going on? We, I think, covered everything. Yeah, I don't really think we have too much more. That's really how it works. It's pretty, it sounds complicated, but it's really not. I mean, there's just a lot of like little kind of minutia that I don't want to say it's obvious, because it's obviously not. Obviously, it's why we had to write it down. That's why we've gotten these questions. But once you get going, I think everybody will pick up on it. The other thing is, I am working on getting our story graph up for both the light and the regular. I posted the regular story graph challenge in the challenge resources channel today. It doesn't have anything in it yet. Obviously, we haven't released any prompts yet, but once we do release prompts, January's prompts will be in there. And same thing with light. I will have light's challenge information up sometime this week, so that you can at least join it, and then you'll be able to see the light and start planning for January if you want, because like sometimes I'll use Storygraph to plan what books I'm going to read after the 20th.
Yeah. Another question that came up in the Discord was, I've never been to Disney World. Will that prevent me from participating? And it's absolutely not. It's just like some people this year and last year, they're like, what movie is this character from? I've never heard of this character. I've never seen this movie. You can still participate in it. You just do the prompts and you just read the books.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that we could do that might be a fun thing for people who haven't been to Disney is include some of the videos that we
Yeah,
pulled up when we were watching the attractions to come up with prompts.
I like
Um,
that.
we could link those tours
Mhm.
to the channel.
It was a lot of watching a lot of YouTube. It was less time
It was.
consuming than past years where it's, okay, let's sit down and watch a 2-hour movie. And
Yeah.
it was,
Speaking of watch,
oh,
one thing that we
yes.
forgot to mention, we will
Yeah.
also have optional watch parties this year. We'll be watching like the behind the scenes Disney attractions. So anybody who has Disney Plus is obviously welcome to join us and talk and discuss about those. We'll have them in our calendar
If you
once
don't
we
have
pull things
Disney
together.
Plus, if you don't have Disney Plus, though, you can use it as reading sprints. The episodes are about 45 minutes each. So that's about how long Carrie likes to sprint because she's a little crazy. Um, I like short. I've seen people do like hour and a half sprints. I'm like, no, that's too
You get too
much. If I watch
distracted.
an entire movie, that's too much of a sprint.
Yeah.
So you can join in and just sprint if you don't have Disney Plus or you've seen what we're watching. We're going to be doing them pretty much every month. We have two different shows, so it's behind the attraction, and we'll be jumping around on that one because we'll be doing it based on like to go
The
with
attraction
rides that are
release.
released. And then
Yep.
the other thing is the Imagineering story, which is the history of all the Disney parks. And so it starts with a little bit of Walt Disney and why he created Disneyland, and then it goes all the way through to Shanghai Disney. And it's like 6 episodes, I think 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah, so we'll
And
be
they're all tourist
alternating
scales.
them or, that kind of thing. I think our first watch party is actually January 6th, that
Mhm.
Saturday. Um, so again, this will be on our January calendar. You definitely don't have to worry about, trying to remember or anything like that. Um,
Yes, the calendars are new. We just started them this month,
yes.
and we got a lot of really positive feedback.
So we're gonna try and keep doing them and keep them as up to date as we can, as possible. We have a calendars channel in Discord where we'll be uploading all of them, and then we'll also be posting them to Instagram as we have them and finalize them and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I think our first watch party is going to be January 6th.
Yep.
It can also be used as live reading sprints. That'll probably be one of the 2 live reading sprints that we do that month. January gets pretty crazy. Um, for I know myself at minimum. This one right here has a birthday and a gymnastics competition and everything else. So January is going to be pretty nuts for us.
Yep.
Um, but
I started a new
we're trying
job,
to
so
get those sprints in there with you because we definitely want to, complete those books with you, right? We're also doing the challenge right
yes.
alongside you. I mean, yes, we know the prompts ahead of time, but it's not like we're completing them or planning them until the month that they're released. So we're doing the most that we can to not get that leg up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there are prompts like there is a monthly challenge that comes out next year. And Carrie and I, we were together this weekend and we're both like, oh my gosh, how are we going to complete this? I
Yep.
have a solution though. I'll text you my solution.
Oh man.
Um,
Okay.
but so we're not also creating prompts that just fit us and our needs.
No, not at all. There are definitely some that I'm like looking at these prompts. They fit the ride, they fit the attraction, they
Mhm.
fit the spirit of what we're trying to do for Disney. But it's definitely gonna put me outside my comfort zone
Mhm.
for a number of them.
Yep. So we are right there with you. I see our numbers have gone up in viewers. Does anybody have any questions? It could be something that we said earlier and you missed it, or you like caught the tail end and you're like, can you go back and clarify any of that? Um, Anything like that. We are here to answer those questions. While that happens, I think Willow might be back. I don't really know, so I'm gonna go see if my dog is at the door.
Okay. Tori, that is definitely sorry, I just saw in the chat. That is definitely something that people have thought before, that you could use earlier books in the year that for later prompts, and unfortunately that just we found that just gives, a lot there's it doesn't really meet the spirit of the challenge of trying to do it in that month. So that's kind of why we made that rule. Um but I totally get it and totally understand, because there have definitely been times where I've read a book totally forgetting, about the fact that we just released a prompt on the 20th or whatever that would have fit for the following month. I did that actually in November for Hopper. After we released Hopper, I was like looking at the prompts and I was like, oh man, I should have saved this book. Um, oh well, it's a thing. Um, but it's also why I enjoy having the rewards, and why I personally save a lot of rewards until a little further towards the end of the year. Um, for those that are just really hard to kind of hit potentially in the beginning of the year. Um, like I think Jafar had like a book with a snake this year, and I just never ended up reading a book with a snake or something. So I think I ended up using, or maybe I read Ninth House, but I read Ninth House later or something like that. I don't remember quite exactly. And of course now my dog is barking. But are there any questions that anybody has? All right. I don't think any more questions. Obviously, people are welcome. Yeah, thus far we haven't really gotten any more questions. Tori said that this was really helpful, and I had kind of talked to her about talked a little bit about that for the prompts and stuff, and how I totally get it. That it's something that you would not necessarily think about, or like for me, I had made the mention that in November I actually read a book that would have fit her late November too, like after we had already released Hopper's prompts, and I like picked up this book and I was reading it and I was like, oh man, I should have saved this for December.
I've definitely I've definitely like started a book and been like, oh no, wait, and put it away.
Oh, well, that brings up a great point, right? Like you can start a book, but as long as you've read less than 50% of it, you can then use it for the next month. Or if you even finish it on, December 1st, 2nd, whatever, like that can be counted towards December. It doesn't have to be.
So Katie has a question. If you don't fulfill the prompt that month, you can't go back and fill it in with a later date. No, you can.
No, you definitely can.
It rolls over. So like I have prompts. I had a bunch from November that like weren't fulfilled when December started. It rolls over. So like if you finish a character release in February today, that's fine. It just has to be that's what you're reading now.
Yeah, and it just has to be so, and it also just has to be done by December 31st at 11:59 p.m. or time zone, right? Like that's when you've finished, right? You have up until then to complete any prompt released from January 1st to December 1st, right? Because that's when we release, like that's when all the prompts are done and everything else. The only thing that you can't go back is the monthly challenges. Like the monthly challenges run the first of the month to the last day of the month, and that's it. Like you have to do them in that time period, unless you get a reward. Like we just had 2 people from our live announcement. They got an extra week to do January. We don't. That was the first time we've given out a reward like that, but that doesn't mean that we aren't potentially going to do that again in the future. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely like I don't think I finished Jafar which was a March character. I didn't finish Jafar until like June or July, something like that. 2022, I was nuts. I completed every single character in the month it was released.
Yes, you did.
That was nuts and rough, and I definitely did not do that this year. Especially because I stepped up as an admin in, I want to say it was May of 22. So I was not one of the original creators of the readathon, but did jump in to do some work and help. And now Christina and I are doing the events and stuff.
We are, yep. Yep. So I think that's about it. We will be live on Saturday doing reading sprints. I'll be there. Carrie probably won't be there.
It's her first gymnastics competition, so we'll have to see how that morning goes.
That is way more important. Sounds way awesome and more fun. So I will be live here on YouTube. The link is already up. Like the video is already up. Like it's one of those like upcoming videos. So we'll be here. You can be a part of the readathon. You don't have to be a part of the readathon. All are welcome. If you're in a reading slump, you can use them as productivity sprints. I'll probably be doing a lot of that because I'm hosting about 15 people that evening for a party. So I got cooking and cleaning to do.
Yeah. Katie, does that answer your question about the fulfilling of the prompts? I just want to make sure that that was clear when we came back and clarified again. And then otherwise, I think that's really everything.
Yeah.
We even got to cover our watch parties that we forgot to announce.
Yes. Friday, I'm going to just apologize. I was very frazzled on Friday. We had some stuff pop up with our house at the at the 11th hour, and it was just rough. But we are good now. And yeah, I think that's about it. So if anybody has any questions, they can drop it in the chat. They can, if they're on Discord, you can go to the questions on Discord. Just tag an admin too. If you just do @admin, it gets both of us immediately. Yep. We're on Instagram. Feel free to message us on Instagram. Any of that is perfectly acceptable to reach out to us and ask for questions or clarification. Yeah. And I think that's about it. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us. We will see you hopefully Saturday.
Yep. All right. Have a great night.
Have a great night, guys.